Hey gamers, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Playlist. It's Friday, so you guys know what that means. It's time for me to share the games I've been playing during the week. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the games I share with you today. I'd also like to hear what games you guys have been playing recently. And if you have a recommendation on a game you think I should try, let me know, because I'm always looking for new games to experience and new games to try out. There's just so many out there, and I don't know all of them, so I really appreciate any suggestions you guys give me because you guys have suggested some really cool titles for me to keep an eye out for. Now, this week I only have two titles to share with you. I've just been putting all my time in these two games. All the other games, the Star Wars game I was playing, some of the others, have all been shelved for now as I'm just exclusively focusing my time on these two racing titles. As I'm just addicted to this series and can't get enough of it, so that's what my time's been spent on. So this first one here is for PlayStation 1. Now, I've shared this one with you guys in the past in these weekly playlist videos. I had been playing it for a while, and then I put it on hold just because the game had frustrated me a little bit. But I decided I wanted to revisit it, and that was Tokyo Highway Battle for PlayStation 1. So this is the earliest game in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. It was released in North America. Genki released this for PlayStation 1. They called it Tokyo Highway Battle here in the States. Now, they did have earlier games in the series released on the Super Famicom, but those were never released in North America. They felt that Westerners wouldn't really enjoy a Japanese racing game over here, so they never released it. So this was their first entry in the series for Japanese racing in the highways of Tokyo. This is a really fun game. It's really cheap. I mean, in my area, you can get a copy of this for like $3 to $5 online. I've seen them go for like $5 to $10, but it is a fun game. Now, since it's a PlayStation 1 game, this is a fairly basic racer. There's nowhere in depth as the later games that were released under the Tokyo Extreme Racer brand, but it's still an interesting title. You should definitely check out if you're a fan of racers. There are 12 different cars in this game, and of course, they're not licensed, so they don't have any names for them, but they just call them like car 1, 2, and you can go all the way up to the car 12. A little difference between this and the Extreme Racer series is you don't have SP bars, battle bars. You just have one-on-one races, and the whole object of the game is to be getting first place. And you have 3 tracks to choose from, and they're fairly long tracks. You also have 3 laps on 2 of the tracks. One of the tracks you have is only 2 laps. So the game is quite long as far as the races go. You're looking at like 4, 5, 6 minute long battles for every race. And you have the same concept, though, as the later entries in the series. When you defeat your opponents, you unlock credits. You can use those credits to upgrade your vehicle. And there are quite a few different upgrades you can do to your vehicle. Transmissions, the aerodynamics of the car, suspension, brakes, clutch, all kinds of stuff that you can adjust, which will help your car perform better, because the opponents in this game are absolutely brutal. Now, when you first start off the game, you only have 3 cars to choose from, 1, 2, and 3. I suggest number 2. It's right in the middle between the best cars and lightest, and has the best handling. Now, that first opponent you face, you can easily beat him with the stock car, but the second and third guy, you're going to have to upgrade. So I recommend facing the first guy a couple different times to get enough money to level up. Then you can start beating number 2, and then you can start beating number 3. And I do have to warn you, though, like, this is what happened to me, is as soon as you beat the third guy, you go on to the next set of enemies, and the game's difficulty just jacks way up. Your car can go 180 kilometers. Theirs can go like a 210. So they're like 20, 30 kilometers ahead of you in speed. And they just absolutely destroy you. So you have to get a new car. And once you get to that new section of people, you unlock 3 more cars to buy. However, one of the flaws in this game, and thing that annoys me, is once you buy that new car, all the upgrades you had in the previous car are all lost. All that money spent is just a waste. So it's annoying. So what I suggest to do, and what I've been working on, is only beating the first 2 opponents, and then just keep beating them over and over. Now you have to grind, so you save up enough money so that when you buy that new car and switch over to it, you can actually upgrade that vehicle to stay competitive. And so far, I've not had any luck. I saved quite a bit of money. I've been getting everything leveled up on the vehicle, and I'm still having a lot of trouble with the second set of enemies in the game, and it's just kind of annoying and kind of disappointing. So that's one kind of drawback to this series. The Tokyo Highway Battle game for PlayStation 1 is just irritating because the enemies are just so difficult, and the difficulty just jumps so hard. You're like here and it's fun, all of a sudden it's like up to here, and it's just really, really difficult. So, I just got to keep playing it and figure out how to properly upgrade the vehicle. I might have to switch to a different vehicle. So I have a couple different memory cards with different save files, or I could just end up starting it over again. But, it's definitely an interesting title. I think you guys should check out. Now, the music on this game is just absolutely amazing. I love the soundtrack. I even listen to it sometimes outside of the game. It's that good. I really wish some of these tracks were in the later Tokyo Extreme Racer series, just because the music is really awesome. It gets you pumped up for racing, and it's just really good music. Definitely, the game is worth just for running around in races, listening to the music. It's really cool. Another interesting thing is this actually has checkpoints, or near timed. You start with like 100 seconds, and it just goes down from there. Now, I've never run into an issue where I ran out of time. But it's really fun. So it's an arcade racer title, early one for the PlayStation, and it's worth checking out. Just know there are some frustrating points. If you're a big fan of the Tokyo Extreme Racer series, you're not going to get that same kind of quality here. But it's really interesting to see how the early series had started out on the PlayStation with Tokyo Highway Battle. Definitely think you guys should check it out because it is cheap, and it is a fun title, and the music is amazing. And the other game I've been playing, putting a lot of time into this game, and that is Tokyo Extreme Racer 3, which is my favorite in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series right now. I'm just having an absolute blast with this. I got my second vehicle. I had a Mitsubishi FTO, but I bought a Mitsubishi GTO turbo car, and that's the one I've been working on upgrading recently by continually battling old opponents, because you can keep racing the same rivals over and over and use that money, to keep leveling up your vehicle. And so that's what I've been doing. Such a fantastic game. One of the best ones in the series release. Highly recommend you guys get Tokyo Extreme Racer 3. It's an arcade racer, so you're not going to have, your realistic Forza or Gran Turismo controls and tweaking of cars, but it still has a lot of customization in the game. There's a lot of enemies, and it's just a really fun game. And you have, pretty sure it's, over 200 miles of tracks to race on through the highways of Tokyo and other cities. Really fun game. So the whole idea is you want to be the best of the best. You want to beat every opponent in the game, which there are 600 rivals in this game, which is awesome. A lot of returning favorites from the previous games. If you played the other ones, you'll recognize some, like the Cupid's arrows, the rolling guys, diamonds. Like you'll remember some of these enemies in the game, and they're all broken up into different gangs or clubs, and all of them have anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9 racers in that group. And the whole object is to go through all the racers, and once you beat all of them, then their leader will challenge you to a race, and you beat him, you beat that club, and you've defeated it. You unlock their stickers. You also can unlock their car. If they have a special car, you can unlock that so you can actually buy it. And they also can unlock parts for your vehicle, which is important. You want to unlock upgrades to make your vehicle more competitive, because the farther up you go the chain, the more difficult the opponents get, and the faster their vehicles are. And so you need to keep your vehicle competitive by keep upgrading. But it's a really fun game. I currently have beat 94 opponents now, which is awesome. I have all the regular clubs beat, and I'm currently working on the various wanderers, because there are a big group of enemies called the Wanderers, which are special racers. Some are really strong, some are about average. They all have a little theme to their name and stuff, and they don't belong to anybody. They're just guys that wander around, and I'm working on defeating them. There are 3 bosses in the first section, which is Tokyo, that I'm in. You can also choose one of the other 2 cities, but I prefer starting in Tokyo and recommend starting Tokyo, especially if you played the previous games, because the tracks are the exact same you played before, so you'll know the turns, you'll know the tracks in and out, and it'll make it much easier for you. And so I've been having a lot of fun with that. I actually beat the second boss, which is called Bloodhound. And when you race him when it's raining out, which is a really cool feature, is the rain actually turns to blood. And you can see the blood spraying out behind your tires and his tires. And it's a really fun race. And I happened to run into him again. It was raining out. I was going through opponents leveling up, and I flashed my headlights. All of a sudden, I visualized it was just him. And this second time now that I beat him was actually the easiest time I ever had. So he took off real fast, and right before a turn, he slammed right in the back of a taxi, and I was able to speed past him. And then he was trying to speed up again past me, and he slammed into another taxi and lost, and I won again. And I actually saved that replay just because it was awesome, and I enjoyed kicking his ass again. So I finally beat that second boss now twice, and I got a good chunk. It was like 5,000 credits from him, which was awesome. So the whole premise of this game, like I said, you go through and you want to defeat all the enemies. When you're racing around, you will see a giant R above your rivals that you can race, because there's other vehicles which are NPCs. There are vehicles and vans and stuff driving around, just traffic that you can't race, but they're just there to make it more realistic. And when you want to initiate a race, you'll flash your headlights behind the rival that you want to battle, and then the race will start. You each start with an SP bar, which is your spirit points, which is your health bar basically. And whatever person is in front, the opponent's SP bar will deplete. And the whole point of that is to deplete your opponent's SP bar to 0, and then that person wins. So the further ahead you are, the faster their bar depletes. But you also have to watch out too in this game, is if you hit the side of the track or you run into cars, you can take a big chunk of your bar off. So you can even be ahead, but if you run into something really fast, you could lose the race by rear-ending somebody. And I've had that happen a few times, and it really sucks. Like you're blowing past somebody and hit something and you lose. There's also, like I had mentioned before, there are rain. Sometimes the tracks rain, and when it rains, the wheels, your car like slides and flies around the track, and it's really hard to keep control, especially on turns when you're going really fast, because the water's so slick, your car does slide around. But also the computer makes more mistakes. So I've noticed that, it's a little easier to beat some of the tougher opponents in the rain, because they have a lot harder time controlling their vehicles. So if you can learn how to slow down and take turns right in the rain, you can have a much easier time. But it's a really fun game. Like I said, there's over 600 rivals in this game, which is awesome. I've only beat 94 of 600, so I've got a long way to go in this racing series. But I'm just having an absolute blast. Been playing this every night before I go to bed for a little bit, a couple hours, sometimes only a half hour or so. But I'm currently working on upgrading my second vehicle now that I have, and I've just been going through and beating older opponents, and occasionally, I'll run into a wanderer that lets me challenge them. Right now, I'm working on changing the parts on my vehicle to carbon fiber, because I want to reduce the weight, because the less amount your vehicle weighs, the faster it'll move. And that's the name of the game. You want to basically have like a speeding bullet against some of these enemies. Still having a hard time with the first boss of the area, so I gotta keep leveling up. I may have to get another car, I'm not sure, but I'm just having an absolute blast, and I think you guys should check out Tokyo Extreme Racer 3. Very fun game. I also have Tokyo Extreme Racer 0 on PS2, you have Tokyo Extreme Racer 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast, and then you also have Import Tuner Challenge on the 360, and that was the last game released for the series in North America, but it's a really fun game. They just changed the name to Import Tuner Challenge, but it's the exact same Tokyo Extreme Racers series. Same racers and everything, track and all that, just upgraded with newer graphics, new rivals and stuff. Fun game. So I definitely think you guys should check out Tokyo Extreme Racer 3. I'm having a blast with it. So do our quick recap. Talked about Tokyo Highway Battle for PlayStation 1, one of the earliest entries in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series released in North America. Fun game for PlayStation 1. Has an amazing soundtrack. The music is awesome. The game is worth just playing to listen to the music. Do have to warn you, though, that if you're used to the quick, short battles of the Extreme Racer series, those are not like that in this. You have 2 laps, sometimes 3 lap tracks, and if you're looking about 5 or 6 minute battles with every opponent, and there's only like 12 opponents in the game, so it's not a fairly long game. It's just also really difficult, I have to warn you about, but it is still worth checking out, and it's a fairly cheap title. And then we also talked about Tokyo Extreme Racer 3, my absolute favorite in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. If you only ever get one released ever, I would suggest getting Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 for the PlayStation 2. Such a fun game. There's just tons of vehicles. This is also, forgot to mention, is the only one that has licensed vehicles. The other ones have the cars in them, they just don't call them. They call them by their classification code. But this one actually has 15 different licensed vehicles. So you got Mercedes-Benz, Ford, GM, Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, and more. Such a fun racing series. I think you guys should definitely try out. It's one of the better games for PlayStation 2 as far as racing games go, and it's wonderful. And you can get it fairly cheap for like anywhere from like $5 to like $15 online. Wonderful title. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on these two games. I'd also like to hear what games you guys have been playing lately. And if you have a recommendation on a game you think I should check out, let me know. Alright, take care, have a wonderful day, and Sleepy will see you next time.